स्वामिनिति नमामि। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषाय शून्यवादी पाषाणदेशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So there are two considerations here. Number one, the bodily defects of a Vaishnava, and second thing, offense to a Vaishnava. Okay. There was once an instance that Sanatana Goswami was visiting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and previously they used to walk. He was coming from Vrindavan. That was the service given to him, to stay in Vrindavan and do some service. So he was coming to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was in Jagannath Puri. So he is traveling all the way from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri. He is walking, and on the way while walking, people take bath. He took bath in some river, and the water was not good. He got infected, and he had, there are different kind of infections. Here it was not dry itches, wet itches. Water comes out, and all foul smelling water. And he was there in that condition, and he was staying at Haridas Thakur's place. And every day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a rule that after taking darshan of Jagannath, he used to come to the place of Haridas Thakur. Sanatana Goswami also, because before he was given shelter by Lord Chaitanya, had almost become a Muslim. His name was David Khas. Not become Muslim, basically he was taken service of a Muslim king, and people had excommunicated him, the Brahmin class. Actually he comes from Saraswat Brahmin families, advanced family. But because of taking service of a Muslim king, he was rejected. And the king had even given him a Muslim name, David Khas. Brother was named Sakar Malik. So now what happens is that he taken shelter of Lord Chaitanya, but still he will not enter the temple, because there is still rule in Jagannath Puri. Only Hindus are allowed to enter. Somebody may object, because I was almost a Muslim one time. He used to be outside and stay at the heart of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur is a Muslim member. He never entered the temple. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally came every day to visit them, and the whole thing is showing that he is not happy with that so-called tradition. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Jagannatha himself personally is meeting them every day, and showing that this kind of discrimination, I don't agree with. So that's another big subject. Now what happens was, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he comes every day, he sees Haridas Thakur, embraces him. He sees Sanatana Goswami, embraces him. And Sanatana Goswami, every time he tried to run, don't touch me, my Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu force and affection higher. And they say, don't think this is feeling bad for me. This thing smells like chandan. And he will consider himself so miserable that one day he decided to commit suicide. He said, I cannot stand the Lord embracing me when I am foul smelling from my body. I will commit suicide. I cannot live any longer. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being Antaryami, could understand that, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come and scolded him next day. That this body, I have many services to do from this body. And then he quotes this. And so he gives the instruction similar to this, that we should not see the bodily defect of a Vaishnava. I could see that this is the best example. Chaitanya said, we cannot see the bodily defect of, because we are in this world actually only seeing external beauty of a person. And there is the instance of that liquid beauty, and where a man is chasing a girl, and then the girl says, finally meet me after 2 weeks, and all the vomit and the loose motion, because of purgatives and laxatives she creates, she offers that as the beauty to that man when he comes after 2 weeks, to cut the story short. And the man comes to the senses. So I always ask the students, what the lesson from this story? Actually, they get a shock after hearing the story. They say we should see the inner beauty, but they don't know what is the inner beauty. For them, inner beauty is actually undercurrent of lust is always there. They cannot see the inner beauty. To see the inner beauty means to see the beauty of the soul, not the body. Soul, nature. What is the beauty of the soul? Soul consciousness. What is this desire to serve Krishna? That we have to see. Not the external features which are of no consequence actually. So people mistake, when we talk about inner beauty, they think, person's nature and all nature, not in mundane sense, in the sense of his eagerness to serve Krishna. Prabhupada gives an example. He says, just like a fire. Now, whatever sparks are there touching to the fire are glittering. But these sparks, when they fall on a dry grass, they create fire there also. There also it ignites fire. Sometimes spark falls on somebody's dress, and the dress, if he is careless, the dress may catch fire. Okay? The same way, these sparks may ignite fire. In the same way, the sparks, somebody is strong Krishna conscious, if he falls amongst non-devotees, there also he will ignite fire of serving Krishna. So we should see that. We should not see mundane, just like some people say, the American Vaishnava, American gurus. We should not speak like that. These things should not be spoken. What actually we should see is that his eagerness to serve Krishna. Correct? In fact, Prabhupada had that problem. When he saw his disciples being dishonored sometimes, Prabhupada was very sad. He said, why? Why you dishonor them? Just because, in fact, Prabhupada was not happy with the Jagannath Puri temple. He said, I will not enter the temple if you don't allow my disciples to enter. In fact, Prabhupada did not enter later. In fact, the previous part of his life he had gone. But later the Acharya was upset with that. He said, why? He sent disciples to talk to some people who are in power, who can influence, but they didn't agree. Prabhupada said, he was not happy with that. So what is all this? Mundane consideration. Born in a Hindu family, what meaning it has to do? People born in Hindu family do anything, everything. And a person has given his life to serve Krishna, and we are discriminating. He's an American Vaishnava, American Guru, American Sannyasi. We should not speak of these things. These are not proper consideration. Consideration is his desire to serve Krishna. In fact, general mass of people doesn't have that. Their heart is open. They rather encourage. And externally in Vrindavan also, when they go to a temple, they say, Angrejo ka mandir. But practically, when they see a foreigner devotee, people encouraging him up. Generally, I had that experience. People are very happy rather. Okay, so this is one part, that we should not see the external feature of a devotee at all. Okay, what we should see is eagerness to serve Krishna. Now the second point is coming about offense. So let us meditate on some examples of that. We know the example of King Rahuguna. And this king was traveling. And he had some, who carry the chariot, palakas. And one of the palakas fell sick, so he had to be relieved, and now one more person is needed. So they found this personality sitting indifferent. Morning also he talked about him, Jada Bharata. Actually in previous life he was an advanced Vaishnava, but this life, because he could not go back to Godhead because of his little small mistake, he got distracted by a deer. This life he was very serious. So much serious, people consider him mad. That's how it happens. Today also it is like that. If you become serious in Krishna consciousness, people think you are mad. So that's what happened to Jadabharata. Very serious. So serious, he will not even talk to mundane people. He will be busy in his samadhi on Krishna. So now what happened? He was sitting like that. Normal people thought he is mad. Actually he was guarding his brothers, thought he is good for nothing. So kept him to guard his farm. And they used to give him something to eat, whatever they give him. He is busy in some other platform. Just like a fire discovered by ashes, undiscovered. He was discovered by the king Rahugana. How? So what happened? They found this fellow strong and sitting like that. They don't know. So external feature, nothing so special, looking like a. And they picked him up and they said, you have to hold the king's this thing. They forced him. He said, okay. And he was holding. And then the king felt that he was Prabhupada says he was a Brahmana by quality, others were Shudra by quality. And the Shudras, in bhat, they were walking, not bothered about ants on the ground. And he is a qualified Brahmana. He cannot walk on the ants. How can I do that? As he was so very careful, he was walking. You know? And these people, the Prabhupada said, therefore, they will always mismatch the Shudras and Brahmana walk together. In the sense of not by birth, by quality. The different natures altogether. So now what happens is that the chariot is shaking. So Rahuguna becomes very upset and blasts him. What kind of, oh, you look to be such a fat person, strong person, like that he speaks something. Jada Bharata, once he was chastised and again he was chastised. He said, I will beat you like anything else. Somehow Jada Bharata, out of his own free will, decided to instruct the king. He said, you are saying I'm a fat man, sir. There is nothing fat. Soul is same. Something he spoke few words, but he spoke with authority. He's a great acharya. Jada Bharata, because he is in the Vedic culture, because it's a one devotee can recognize another devotee. You are a doctor, you can recognize a big doctor. Otherwise, you cannot do that. That's why I say Kanishadhikari should not discriminate. He will just worship just like most of the people in India. They are Kanishadhikaris. They go to temple not with the business of learning anything from anybody. Go pay obeisance to deity, chapter first. Correct? That is called Kanishka. Madhyama means yes, you can just, oh, let me take advantage. He's a Vaishnava here. Oh, I can help this person. Okay? He's a Madhyamadhikari. Uttamadhikari is another condition where it's a trance. He's in Samadhi. He doesn't speak itself. He thinks he's the only person who's not a Vaishnava. Rest everybody is obeying Krishna. So now what happens is that he out of his own accord starts instructing, and Rahuguna could detect, because he's a Kshatriya and Vaishnava culture, he immediately came out of the chariot and fell at the feet of Jada Bharata. Why? Prabhupada writes in the purport, is scared of committing a Vaishnava aparadh. That is Vedic culture. That is the reason he. Otherwise, it's surprising how a king was just lying on that. He's speaking and blasting them. He's telling, I'll chastise you now. Suddenly jumped out because he was scared of doing Vaishnava. Oh wow, Vaishnava aparadh, very dangerous. He could feel he is talking to a Vaishnava. Correct? Immediately came out, fell at his feet. And therefore Bhagavatam had 3-4 chapters, talks between Jada Bharata and Rahuguna. Further talks, more talks, forest of enjoyment. There are beautiful chapters by Jada Bharata, and we can see how great he was when he opened his mouth. Till that time in his life, he was silent. Okay. So this is where, a Vaishnava aparadha we see in Vedic culture was so strongly practiced. There is another instance we know, Chitraketu. Chitraketu was a great personality. In fact, he was blessed by Narada, and he went into beautiful spiritual practice. And within 6 months, he saw Narayana face to face in the form of which form? Sankarsh, Aniruddha, Ananta, white. He came in 400 form. Very beautiful. Yeah. Very beautiful form. Okay? He came in a very beautiful, a white form. Lord has multiplied. And he got blessed by the direct darshan of the Lord. 6 months. Prabhupada says if you follow Guru, anything is possible. And then after that, what happened was when he saw, he was blessed and he became, some king of Gandharvas after that. All the spiritual blessings are there, and he was traveling. And he saw Lord Shiva sitting in assembly with his wife on his lap. And he's holding his wife like this, tight. And he is giving discourse. And a lot of people are listening, great sages are listening. And Lord Shiva is speaking. I think even Narada may be there. There are a lot of top saints, let's say like Narada, top saints were sitting, many top saints. And Lord Shiva is speaking. What is his wife on the lap? Little unusual. Nobody gives a class with wife on the lap. It's little unusual. But Lord Shiva is, he's almost Vishnu. You should not take him like a Jiva Tattva. And he just laughed. What is this, Shiva? And started laughing. And Shiva did not mind at all because he did not take it as almost personally. But Mother Parvati, my dear son, I want to curse you. Who are you to correct a Vaishnava like Lord Shiva? And he cursed. So Prabhupada writes in the purport there that you see, therefore, once all the progress, material or spiritual, will be checked. Moment we offend a Vaishnava, we should be very careful. Everything he lost. He became we have seen from another angle, he became a Rakshasa. True, in his case, one thing was different, was that actually Krishna protected his devotion service. Correct? Materially, he did not lose spiritual. He continued in devotion service and to the arrangement of the Lord, quickly taking back to God. But the purport Prabhupada said that lesson is there in this way. We gave. We know Hiranyakashipu also, another example now. He was so powerful that Devata was scared of him. He used to raise his eyes, Indra used to punish. So powerful. Everybody was forced to daily come and offer prayers to him. So powerful he was. For prayers, Maha, Bhogi, what they will offer. You were thinking what prayers to give. But even Narada had to come and offer prayers to him daily. Everybody, they had to offer. They are so powerful personality. If you have to survive the universe, you have to listen to him. That is there, that everybody is offering prayers to him every day. Now what happened was, when the Devatas was so much disturbed, even before his birth actually, they ran to Brahma, and Brahma did not do anything. Brahma said, I don't know what's it. In the womb of his mother itself, when he was taken birth, the whole universe was filled with like disastrous condition. So all of them could not know what is happening. They all ran to, very bad omens were there. So they all ran to Brahma. Brahma said, I don't know, let me sit on meditation on Lord Vishnu. They went near Shira ocean, offered Purushukta and other prayers. And after that, Narayana told Brahma, see, it is like this. Or Narayana appeared in this case. And said, see, this a great devotee called Prahlad will be bound to this fellow. He is a great demon, don't worry. A great devotee called Prahlad is coming. Once he torments this devotee, he will lose everything. And we see in this condition. That's what happens actually. Hiranyakashipu was so powerful, but he lost everything the moment he started offending a pure devotee. This is another example. And we also see another beautiful example is, this will take as the last example. There are so many actually. The example of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was an exalted Vaishnava. And he used to, all of us know, he used to chant 192 malas of Hare Krishna mantra every day. One day what happened, Haridas Thakur was invited in a house of Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar. They are the fathers of Raghunath Das Goswami. So when he came to that assembly, the moment they saw Haridas Thakur is so celebrated at that time, even now as a great Vaishnava. Namacharya Haridas Thakur. Even one day we struggled to chant 16 rounds. Yes, many people they say chant, but the struggle, one round itself the struggle. 16 rounds is not easy actually, it's a great tapasya. But 192 rounds is a terrible tapasya. It's only the grace of Prabhupada we can do 16 rounds actually. It's not possible otherwise. Unless faith is there, nobody will do. Actually, person lacks faith, therefore he doesn't do. If he knows the benefit, it is only a great misfortune if he doesn't chant 16 rounds. So, but Haridas Thakur was chanting 192 malas. And it was a great one. It's not one day we cannot do. I tell you, maximum we say some people 64, 80. I have heard 80, more, maybe 100 I have heard from somebody. I have not heard more than 100 from anybody. 192 I have never heard. Sometimes we go Govardhan Parikrama and all, we chant for 8-9 hours. Maybe that day, 80, 90, Vrindavan, we do Kartik Mass. Never heard more. 100 also I never heard. 88, 86, highest. 64 also very tough. And here is 192 manas every day. We have to have a taste actually. We can just mentally understand and appreciate. He must be in samadhi of the beauty of the Holy God. Therefore, he could pass the test of the prostitute and Maya Devi. So, even a prostitute tested him. 3 nights prostitute came when he was sitting in a place, and the effect was the prostitute became a Vaishnava. Next time, Maya Devi, Durga Devi came to test him, and she also took beautiful forms of Maya to enchant him. Nothing, no effect. And the result was Maya Devi fell at his feet and took his diksha from him and went. He said, my husband Lord Shiva gave me Ramanama, please give me Krishna Nama. He gave diksha to Maya Devi, so powerful. Okay, so same Haridas Thakur when he entered, whole assembly was enchanted. They said, let us discuss about the holy name. I said, yes. So everybody started glorifying the holy name. And Haridas Thakur, her holy name is so powerful, if you chant, you will get free from all the papa karma. Somebody said, people say, oh, wonderful, wonderful. Somebody said, holy name is so powerful like this. Everybody is talking in different ways. You will become pure, you will become, all your desires will be fulfilled. Somebody said that. And Haridas Thakur was sitting smiling. Somebody said, you will get moksha if you chant the holy name. Whole assembly, oh, great, 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 great. So they said, Haridas Thakur, you want to say something? He said, what you are saying is a shadow of a holy name can give that, not the holy name. Holy name gives you pure love of Krishna. This is a shadow of the holy name. If somebody sincerely, therefore Shuddha Nama, people don't know what is Shuddha Nama. Most of the people chant, they get a little peace of mind. That's why I get chant. Why? I get some peace of mind. They give a temple also for that. I get some peace of mind. This is not spiritual life meant for. They don't know what to ask when you go to Krishna. Spiritual life is meant for becoming a lover of God. Correct? God means a person. Spiritual life, the objective is, just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhakto asime, Priyo asime. Why I practice spiritual life? To become lover of God. True, peace, devotee actually has the highest peace. But that's a separate concept. That's a shadow. He's not looking for that. He wants to become a pure lover of God without any. That's why it talks about pure devotion service. It is not easy to achieve. Pure devotee constantly thinks about the Lord. That's a proof he loves God. Prabhupada said, unless you love somebody, you cannot think about him all the time. People think about children, their business, everything over him because they love that. But a devotee loves the Lord. He thinks about it all day. So now what happens was that Haridas Thakur says like that. So there was a person in that assembly, Gopal Chakravarti. Chakravarti, these are all Brahmin names. And he is young, handsome person. In fact, he was one of the collectors for Hiranya Govardhan Majumdar. They were the Jamindars. Very rich. He was also rich and very young and handsome. He said, this is not acceptable. Just by chanting, in fact, many people have seen this. In fact, a personal encounter, many people. They just don't agree. He said, just by chanting holy name of the Lord, you can be free from all the papa karma. I cannot agree. What is that? Chanting just once Krishna. Nothing can happen. So much tapasya we have to do. So many birds we have to do. So many homas, yagnas, this, that, samskaras. Then you become purified. What is that? Just by chanting even once holy name of the Lord. It is so powerful. What all you are talking, it will happen. I don't agree to all this. So Haridas Thakur said, please don't doubt this. This is a verdict of all the scriptures. He started quoting the example of Ajamila, who just by chanting once the name of Narayana before his death was saved from the hands of Yamadutas. Like that he started talking. The references from scriptures, so many places. So glorious is this person. The holy name of Lord is in the tip of his tongue. He must have done already all the tapasyas, yagnas, everything over. So that person was still not pacified. Rather he became angry. He felt insulted because he has been. So he said, if this is not true, I curse you. Within 3 days your nose will fall. Everybody got angry. What is this person talking? You should give a reference from the scripture. What is he simply talking like that? It's so offensive to speak like that. He offended a great Vaishnava. So Haridas Thakur said, yes, if it is so, let my nose fall within 3 days. If you are saying that this is not true, that holy name cannot purify a person just by utterance, if it is so, let my nose fall. But the Hiranya Govardhan Majumdar were very angry. They were his employers. They suspended him from the job and threw him out of the place also. And people were very angry at that. Haridas Thakur said, no, don't angry, pardon me, foolish boy. 3 days later, this boy, Gopal Chakravarti, got depressive and he lost his nose. Just in 3 days time. Exactly 3 days time. So Haridas Thakur was sad to know about that because devotee doesn't wish. In fact, he had requested people to pardon him and he had also pardoned him from his heart. But Krishna did not pardon him. Correct? Even in the Mahabharata war, we know that Arjuna requested Krishna to pardon the Kauravas. He said, let us not have the war. Krishna said, no. Why? Because Draupadi was insulted. Even Karna begged Arjuna, don't kill me now. Krishna says, no, kill him. Why did he say so? Because he offended a pure Vaishnava. Draupadi is a great Vaishnava, he played with fire. So we should not play with fire. Just like you have electric current, there are so many instances. Just little touch, it's amazing that something can happen. So similarly, devotees are very dear to the Lord. They are whatever it is, any devotee. We should not, even a neophyte devotee, everybody is dear to the Lord. We should be very careful not to offend a Vaishnava. What happens? All the spiritual progress is arrested till we clear the doctors. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally showed. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took to so much to spiritual life, and sometimes it happens. Parents become offensive to somebody who is encouraging. We have seen so many times. So what happens that Sachi Mata, the mother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, sometimes she spoke something against Advaita Acharya. I don't know what are the exact reason. She spoke something against Advaita Acharya. So one day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that my mother will not get pure devotion unless she clears the offense from Advaita Acharya. He spoke in an open assembly. Everybody is there, including his mother. Advaita Acharya is not there. So somebody felt very bad because they are all very serious devotees. So they sent somebody to bring Advaita Acharya there. Advaita Acharya came there all the time, speaking the glories of Sachi Mata. He had nothing, no offense. But when he entered, he knew something is happening. He offered obeisance to Sachi Mata because he is the mother of Lord Chaitanya. But she took the opportunity at that time to touch his feet and take the pardon. So we see that situation that devotees always get to clear all offenses. In fact, we lose only our ego little when we clear an offense. But, there is so much to gain. Okay, any question, clarification on this one? Because of 2 points today. Number 1 point is that the bodily defect or the birth or so-called mundane things should not be considered when we see a Vaishnava. Past things should not be considered at all. Rather, we should see sincerity. Sometimes past sins, we keep meditating upon that for a Vaishnava. Should not be considered. And the next thing is that we should not offend a Vaishnava. We got so many examples. Srila Prabhupada ki